Hello guys, it's Dmitry here, and today I would like to discuss about another topic. It's called types of variables. So I think, even so, I told you in the previous couple of tutorials that JavaScript doesn't really take care of types at all. I mean, we don't need to define types because it's handling types itself. But still, it's important to understand that the types themselves, that there are like different types of data. And I assume some of you guys, you're not that familiar with that. So let's define some types of data. Alright guys, first one. First I would like to define an integer. So what is integer? Essentially it's numbers, the whole numbers. They can be positive or negative ones, but they shouldn't contain the decimal part. So I will give you an example. $20. This is the actual number, right? This is integer type of data. So another type, it's called string. And string itself, it's usually defined in quotations, as I told you before, guys. Let name, this is the string, a string. So guys, this is the actual string. Also, I would like to later on discuss about string, because there are some edge cases where you have to be careful with string, and you have to understand how to work with some of the cases, specific ones. So guys, another type of variables or type of data, it's called float. And float itself, essentially, if you studied math, instead of float we call them real numbers. And real numbers, it's essentially number with a decimal part. For example, this kind of float or real number, 30.2. This is the actual float, or in case of math, it's a real number. So, okay, and now, and also, I guess it's important to mention the real number can be positive and negative, right? So another type of data, it's called Boolean. And Boolean itself, it's usually used in case of different conditions, when you define different conditions. For example, it can be true or it can be false. So Boolean type, it just defines two pieces of data, right? It can be true or can be false. And guys, at the moment I'm not going to give you an example with this Boolean type, but again, there are different kind of conditions. If you define different conditions, the Boolean can be really helpful in order to make the logic as neat as possible. Alright guys, and now, for instance, let's move on to string. As I discussed, there are some edge cases when string can be tricky. For instance, This is the string, and if I say that, I don't know, my name is Dmitry. So in this case, what will happen? The JavaScript going to be super confused, and if you try to run this program, it's going to give you an exception, an expected identifier. So essentially, what happens is, based on these quotations, JavaScript understands that everything inside of this quotation is a string type. But the problem is, we also place this piece of information in quotations, right? In quotes. So what happens when you specify a quote here? Then it's a string inside, and then another quote which is just kind of ends this string, and then we define a new thing, and then we define a new string, and then nothing inside the string, and just end the string, right? So if you would like to place this piece of data inside of this string, what you have to do, you have to use a so-called escape character. This is the actual escape character. So, and that's how you're doing that. Essentially, escape character says, just ignore everything. That's the first character after this escape character, and the same here. So it's going to ignore that quote and this quote. So let's run it. So you can see it works, right? And let's just console it out. If you console that out, you can see, so these quotes, now they ignored, and essentially they just become the part of the string. So JavaScript starts treating it as a string itself, right? The part of string. So that's how you using quotes inside of a string. So I think, guys, pretty much for this topic. And again, just remember that all these types exist, right? And they all different types, right? And again, when we're passing something, some piece of data, one of these piece of data to variable, we don't need to specify any extra information to JavaScript what kind of type of data it is. JavaScript itself going to figure it out, which is, again, it's a blessing and it's a cursing at the same time, because in case of different languages, in many cases you have to define the actual type of variable. But again, in JavaScript it's not the case. We don't need to do that. It would happen automatically. It will happen automatically. So thank you very much, guys, for your time, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Please write any comments, and let me know if you have any questions. And I would just definitely recommend you to practice, as I always do, and just keep on going, keep practicing, and stay tuned, guys. Thank you. Have a good day.